everyone, I'm Megan. Welcome to a series of classical Pilates exercises on the mat and using our 55 fitness bag. So, you've got your bag nearby and we will first warm up our joints. Pulling in the belly button by about 10%, lifting the pelvic floor muscles away from the mat. We start with an up and over reach, and then up and over to the other side. As it's Pilates, our goal is to keep the lower abs in and keep the pelvic floor muscles lifted the entire time we exercise. Those lifts are teeny tiny, it's about 10%, so we can breathe naturally while keeping those core muscles, especially the pelvic floor, gently engaged. And that builds the endurance of those areas. From here, we're sitting up nice and tall, circling the arms at the elbows. The lower arms circle in and out. And then we go the other way. Then we're making gentle fists with the hands and we're circling the wrists. The shoulders and elbows might move as well. Then the other way. Keep pulling in those abs. Then we're making little stars with our hands. Quick little stars. They spring open. Warming up all the joints there in the upper body. Last set, let those fingers really spring open. They're jumping open. Energizing. Then we're taking the right fingertips behind, left across. A small spinal twist to start with. Could look forward or to the side. Or breathe in. Breathe out and look a little bit further behind. Then we'll swap to the other side. Left arm behind, right across. Breathing in. Breathing out to look to the side. This is a perfectly good warm-up position. If you'd like a little more, breathe in. Breathe out and look a little bit behind that back shoulder. Unwinding to the front. Knees and toes are up, and we're taking the knees up and over, a little bit there. We'll warm up the joints of the lower body. Then other ankle in front. We're sitting all the way up. Fingertips find the shoulders. Little circles around a golf ball. On either side of the elbow, the golf ball becomes a slightly bigger ball. The slightly bigger ball becomes a really big ball. So the elbows come all the way forward, all the way up, all the way back. They kiss the ribs as they come around. There's 4. Keep pulling in those abs. Wiggle if you need to sit up that little bit taller. And 1. We're coming on up. Knees and feet come up again. And this time we're taking one knee out to the side and up. Other one out to the side and up. Bend the elbows at the back. Pull in the abs. Little mini clams to start with for the hip and the lower back. Inner thighs. Last 2. Last 1. One leg out, other leg out. The toes point towards me and towards your own face. Towards me, towards your nose. Go with the toes. Really push those heels, move the whole foot. Warming up hips, knees, ankles, and the toes. Last 2. Last one, we're going to keep the heels on the mat. The legs are on the mat. We're sitting up really tall, and then we're bringing the heels of the hands together here. We're going to do little heel beats here. Heel beats of the hands and wrists. There we go. Abs in, shoulders down. Warming up these joints. Later in this exercise session, we'll be doing this, but with the heels of our feet, keeping the legs long and straight, working the inner thighs. Opening on out. Heels of the hands come down to the mat. Fingertips point down as the tops of the wrists come up. We come all the way down, all the way up. Maybe the wrists touch. Let the backs of the wrists touch. Good. Last 2. Last 1. We're going to bend the knees and come round so that we're side saddle. Sitting up nice and tall. Your toes could work their way under the back if you'd like that support. Abs are in. Long spine, long arms, long fingers. We're starting our rocks back and up. If you have any injuries or you're new to exercise, keep the rocks small here. This is fabulous for the lower abs, for the hip flexors. Or if you'd like a little more, go a little bit further back, a little bit further up. We breathe in as we go back, we breathe out as we come on out. Breathing in, breathing out. There's 4, 3, keep pulling in the lower abs. There's 2. Last one, we come on up and we're going to reach for our bag. We're going to lift the bag up and I'm hugging it inside the hooks of my elbows. Made a little table of my biceps, a little table for the bag, and then I'm going to hug it on in. Elbows come in close to the ribs, and now keep the lower abs in, keep the feet glued to the floor. And you continue in your rocks here. Lift the pelvic floor muscles away from the mat. We never forget the pelvic floor muscles in Pilates. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we're lengthening out one leg, lengthening out the other leg, and we're making a table. So the hands come on top of each other. The elbows are a table for the bag. Your forearms and your elbows are a table. You've got the bag here. Now, long spine, knees and toes up to the ceiling. Here we go. We breathe in, breathe out, small spinal twist to the corner. Breathe in as we come back. Breathing out as we go to the corner, in as we come back. And there you go. You're doing the classical exercise called the seated spinal twist. In the meantime, you've made a table of your forearms for the back. Strengthening the shoulders, the core, and you can feel how much strength this requires in your hips and legs. Legs are on and strong. If in doubt, push the heels. Squeeze the kneecap and the quads. Keep the legs strong whenever you're working. There's 4, 3. We're hinging at the waist. Work the waist. The bag and the arms just come along for the ride. Last one there, we're going back to our hug position. Legs are strong and on, and now we tilt back and come up. Keep pushing the legs. Legs are strong so that our legs aren't moving and we're not moving on the mat. This will be a smaller motion. Nice and controlled. You've got your bicep hug here off the back, plus your rock. There's 4, 3, 2, and we're about to come in for a stretch. Abs in, you're going to roll the bag. Down your legs, you're going to lift it up and over on the other side of your feet, and then abs in, long legs, you're holding the bag here. If you're curling anywhere in your spine, pull the abs in, lengthen the spine, even if it means you're up a little bit further. There you go, for that gorgeous deep stretch in the hips and the entire back of the legs, also the spine. If you're not holding your bag yet, if that's too far for you to reach, no problem. Hold the shins, hold the thighs. Just keep this lovely, healthy spine. We don't want any curls or droopy heads. Abs in, shoulders down, and reach. It will definitely get easier. Start experimenting with the bag. Would you like to hold the handles in the middle and bend the elbows? That will make a deeper stretch. Push the heels away. The bag can really help with stretching those hamstrings. Maybe you'd like to reach for the top handle there. Keep pulling in the abs and inch yourself a little bit further. You can do it. Here we go. We're going to roll on up. We're going to bend the knees, and we're bringing our feet and knees around underneath of us. Knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders, wiggle ourselves forward. The balls of the feet come to the mat, and we're making a box position. Our body is like a little box, and we're going to float the box up. So here we go. We breathe in, breathe out. Strengthen the shoulder joints and the hip joints as we float the knees up. Now we're a floating box. Then we lower knees down. We breathe out to lift, in to lower. Keep on going. Breathing out, breathing in. It's a move that looks really easy because it's a small movement, but for how much you're lifting the pelvic floor muscles, pulling in the abs, it's possibly a little trickier than it looks, especially if you're doing it properly. Not rocking, not wiggling, it's a controlled lift and lower. Let the hips show us how strong we are. Let the shoulders do their job. There we go for 4, 3, 2, hold number 1 up, added challenge, we're going to lengthen one leg out behind and lengthen the other leg out behind, squeeze the glutes, and you're in your high plank, shoulders away from the ears. If in doubt, and you're in a plank, squeeze the glutes, lengthen the spine, no droopy heads, that's droopy, we want up. Strong back of the neck, strong upper back. Hold it here and smile. There we go. 8, 4, 3, 2, and 1. One knee down, other knee down. Knees and feet come together. We're sending the hips back to the heels. Let the hips touch the heels, even if you're up high. Allow your hips and lower back to relax and enjoy that stretch there. If you'd like more, bring the heart towards the mat, reaching the arms longer and longer. Wrists might pass the back, and then we bring the heart towards the knees in the direction of the floor. Holding it here. If your hips are popping up, glue them back down to your heels. Even if it means you're coming up further, this will be a progression you will be able to reach eventually with the hips on the heels. But if you let them pop up every time you come down, it won't progress anywhere. So bear that in mind. Hips to heels, super glued, and then we reach. Holding it there for a moment. And now we're going to come on up and onto our right side. We're tucking the bag under the rib cage. But I'm not collapsed, I'm not resting on it, I'm up, tucking the bag in, and then I'm on my elbow with my fingertips at my temples. Toes, find the front corner of the mat there. Hand could be on the hip or on the mat in front. We're in the torpedo position. Abs in. We breathe out to lift the top leg, into lower. Doesn't have to come very high. We're setting up first. So you're up. If you remove your fingertips from your temples, you're not going to fall down, because basically you're using strength in your core for this. Keep reaching up. The leg is reaching, the arm is reaching, you're up out of your ribs, up out of the shoulder and waist. Gorgeous Pilates positions here. That's 3, 2, and 1. Then we're taking the other fingertips to the temples, we're flexing both feet, and this top leg is coming a little bit forward, then in, and then a little bit back. We keep the leg long and straight. We're trying to keep everything stacked. Hips are stacked on top of each other. Nice alignment. If you feel that you're tempted to start moving a little bit forward and back, that will take away from the strength in your hips, shoulders, and spine, and your core. So keep the seatbelts on, keep your body still and controlled, even if it means the movements are smaller. You've got it. Last set. A little bit forward and in, a little bit back and in. From here, we're bending the knees. We're going to come up and over with the knees and the back. So the knees and the back come up and over, and then we're going to come on down. On our left side, we're tucking the ribs on top of the bag, but not collapsing. We're up. Legs come out. Check, seatbelts are on. Hips stacked, ribs stacked, shoulders stacked. Here we go. We're breathing out to lift the top leg, into lower. Doing really well. Pilates movements are often small, but they're really highly controlled. Every part of your body is working right now. So if you feel like you're collapsing anywhere, pull everything in and keep on up. If you feel like you're wiggling anywhere through the body, check seatbelts. Check strength in the shoulders, hips, and spine. You can do it. Yes, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we're going for the controlled forward and back. So the front leg comes forward a little bit, it comes in, and it goes back a little bit. I am actively squeezing the abs in. I'm actively lifting up out of my shoulders. If you feel like your leg is bending anywhere, squeeze the kneecap and the quad. Squeeze both legs. Give you that strength. All of us have a slightly weaker side than the other. This one requires a lot of focus for me. Focus is one of the main principles of Pilates. We've got to concentrate on what we're doing. If we lose concentration, it could start looking something like this, which we don't really want to do. We're collapsing and we're not really working the core that much. So abs in, focus. You've got it. Last set, forward and in, back and in. Then we're bending the knees, the hands will come down, and now we get to lie down on our bags like a pillow. The head's coming onto the bag for a moment. We won't get too comfy though. We're straight into our pelvic tilts. Feet are flat on the mat, knees are bent, and we're bringing the lower back into the mat, and then relax. So we tighten all the seatbelts in the lower abs and pelvic floor, then we relax. There's 4, 3, 2, hold number 1. That is the position we keep when we're working our abs and Pilates. Lower back into the mat, pelvic floor lifted. We're going to bring our back around. I've got to wiggle a little bit to get mine. I'm holding both sets of handles here at the front. You could hold the edges if you prefer. And we're going to bring the bag over our chest in a chest press position. From here, we're starting to walk. One knee towards the bag, walk on down. Breathing out to lift, in to lower. We're strengthening the shoulders and the front core here. Breathing out, breathing in. If you feel like your shoulders are fatiguing at all, you can always put the back down and just have your arms in the air. That will still stabilize the shoulder joints. Right now, we're working so hard on pulling our belly button in that we hardly even notice the bag. It's just up there being held straight and strong by those super strong shoulders. Last 2, last 1. Then we are bringing the knees in and up. We're turning out at the hips so that the heels of our feet can touch each other. Here we go. Float the head, neck, and shoulders up if you prefer. Those heel beats that we talked about in the beginning, we did them with our wrists. Now we're doing them with our inner thighs and our heels. Here we go. We tap the heels together, little taps. Keep pulling in the abs, press the back up over your sternum. You've got it. Flatten, flatten, flatten. The table is your front core. It's nice and flat. I could put a beer belly on your belly button right now and it wouldn't wobble around because you're pulling the abs in. There we go. Keep on going. You've got it. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold, push, lift everything up to a nice pike position. One knee bends, the foot comes down, other knee bends, extra push at the bag. We come on down. Now we're taking the bag under our own hips. So we squeeze the glutes up into a bridge. We bring the bag down onto our hips. I'm sort of going to bring it under the lower part of my hips or my glutes. So it's not under the back at all, it's on the hips there, and it's going to assist in some stretching. We would like to get the thigh muscle to the rib cage. Here it is. Come on in. You could wiggle the bag a little bit to see if that helps, maybe up a little higher on the glutes, and then come in for your hug. Really working the quad muscles to the ribs. Hold it there. From here, we're going to swap. We're putting that foot down, and we're hugging the other thigh into the ribs. Really work it in. Hug and hold. Hug the shin, not a knee joint. We hug places where there are plenty of muscles and fat as well. Those are safe places to hug and hold when we're stretching. If we pull in a joint, maybe not today, but over time, eventually we would be adding stress to the joints if we hug joints when we're stretching. So press the flesh. Hug a fleshy part of your body when you're stretching, like the back of the thigh, or maybe the front of the shin where you've got muscle. Keep on hugging. This position is allowing our lower back to relax. From here, we're bringing the other knee in so that the knees are together, knees and feet touching, and we're hugging both thighs in. Will the thighs touch the ribs? Have a little rock side to side, see how that feels. And from here, we're going into our pike. Hug the back of the thighs, plenty of muscle and fat there. And then we take the toes towards the sky. Maybe your pike is here. Or maybe it's lengthening a little bit further. Maybe you're lengthening both legs and you're here. If you'd like to be, you could find the calf muscles or the ankles and come on in, a little bit of a tighter pike. Let the bag assist you. You could come up a little bit higher on the bag if that helps. We're aiming thighs for ribs. A little something for the calves. Here we go. We push the heels away from us and the toes towards our nose, and then the toes away. A few more like that. Push and push. Doesn't that feel good? There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to bend one knee in, other knee in, and we're going to move the back away from us, so it's back under the lower part of the back there, more like the glutes. We're going to put one foot down, other ankle across the opposite knee, and gently press the thigh open. Hand could be on the opposite hip, keeping our hips equally on the floor. Please don't press your knee joint, press the flesh. Muscle and fat right there. It's all good for us. We want both. And then we'll swap. Other foot down, other ankle across, and we press the flesh for our hip opener here. Good for the hip and the lower back. Wonderful if you do a lot of driving or desk work. We really want to keep the lower back and the hips comfy and moving. From here, we're going to push the bag a little bit away and then use our feet to push it away. If you'd like to, you could put your feet under the bag if you want that extra weight. We don't really need it though, because ultimately we want to use our core muscles. So abs in, tight pelvic floor. We're going to breathe in, breathe out, tuck the chin, and come on up. You did it. Find your bag, walk it back up into your hug. Knees can come away from you a little bit. Into that bicep hug where we're hugging the bag at our biceps and we're going back and forward, abs in. Today we've worked our shoulder girdles, our hip girdles, really important joints in the body, and we've worked our spine. We've worked the front core, the back core. We've worked our quads, our glutes, and our hamstrings. Our goal is to feel stronger through all of those joints, and generally better. Whenever we do Pilates, we want to feel better afterwards. Small movements regularly with the body, and you'll be amazed at how much better you'll feel as you go about all the things that we need to do every day. Here we go. Last 2. Last one. We're lengthening out one leg and then the other leg. We're going to lower the bag on down to the floor. We can put it at the edge of our mats. Knees come in and we'll meet where we started in the tailor position. One ankle crossed in front of the other one, fingertips at our sides. We'll come up and over. Maybe you're bending a little more deeply than when we started. Up and over to the other side. If you were here at the beginning, maybe now you're here. to the other side. Again, hopefully the spinal twist feels better. And then we'll unwind to the front. We'll take our shoulders forward, up, back and down. We'll check our elbows, a couple circles in, a couple circles out. Wrists and hands, a few circles in, a few circles out. The heel of the hands to the mat. Then the wrist touch overhead. Another one like that. You've been amazing. Give yourself a pat on the back for a job well done. And have a clap. Thank you for joining me today with the 55 Fitness Bag. Hope you feel good. And I look forward to moving again with you very soon. Well done.